I need to welcome our lovely and cute YouTube audience. Welcome back, guys, once again to Valorant Challenger South Asia, driven by Hyundai. You guys are most welcome on the English desk, on the English panel. It's me, Necro, and Crips on alongside with me, and we've got the players walking in front of us. And Crips, make the guess right now. Which team you think is going to win?
If I make one particular guess, will you go along with the other one just to keep things interesting? Or will you also the one that I picked?
Oh, so you like, you want to have like a little rivalry, huh? Yes, okay.
Huh.
You know what?
Yeah, something like that.
Go ahead.
Both the teams have quite a lot at stake. I think we should also have a little bit something at stake. Just
okay,
to
then
keep
go
it
ahead.
spicy. In this case, I'm gonna choose God's Reign.
God's Reign? Alright, you know what? Then I'll go with GodLike. Let's go. As they say, they'll say GodLike. I'm gonna say it once again from my side. GodLike from my heart, because Crips went with God's Reign, so I'm gonna opt out for GodLike. But again, as we said, we've got no clue what sort of game plan, what sort of gameplay is gonna be seen from the side of GodLike. So there's a lot of question marks, even on my face, even on Crips' face, and I'm pretty sure even on all the audience that's currently watching us, because these two Filipino players, they should bring a lot of X factor.
Yeah, that's the X factor that I was hoping for. I hope that they can disrupt their opponent God's Reign, because quite frankly, that's one of the only things that can stop them. Last time when we saw God's Reign in action, Velocity was not successful in going for those full-blown executes and trying to make God's Reign over-rotate. The only time Velocity found success is when they had layers upon layers in their strats, and they disrupted the original flow that God's Reign were planning to implement. Once you have that disruptive potential, that's when you can stop God's Reign. That is the only weakness they have. Otherwise, they are a damn strong team. But then again, I don't know what kind of playstyle will GodLike bring to the table, right? Their performance in the previous game cannot be taken seriously because they weren't playing with their proper lineup. In fact, those players don't even play together all that often. They have stand-ins. So now that the final lineup is back, it should be amazing.
Icebox banned, and you know, Crips, how much I want to see Icebox. But Ascent is banned too, so I'm pretty sure you're going to be happy, because you were saying that you're sick and tired of seeing Ascent over and over again. So Ascent's banned, the decider's going to be on Split. Look, I'm not going to lie, Haven, Pearl is perfect, they're good maps, but Split, I'm having huge doubts and huge question marks, because usually things will go on Split. If they do end up going on Split, we're probably going to be up for an overtime.
Oh yeah, definitely. Split in this particular act just seems so choky, especially when you've got so many agents that can double up in roles. I mean, you've got controllers that sometimes double up as sentinels, especially Viper on that defensive side. It can be so annoying to deal with Viper Util, especially when she's on the defensive side. But going into a map like Haven, I don't think anyone's going to choose a Viper, so we'll be stuck with our regular controllers like your Omen and your ASTER.
Okay, here we go. The agent select in front of us, ladies and gentlemen. And it's going to be nothing out of the box. Just pretty much some basic agent selects on the map of Haven. You've got Killjoy coming in. You've got a Jet, Omen, Initiator. You've got two, Breach, and Sova. The mirror compositions from both the sides. But of course, it's going to play out way different. All that matters is defaults and how these guys have been playing those defaults.
Yeah, I mean, this composition is basically the staple of Haven right now. It's become meta to the extent that everybody who tries to deviate from it ends up suffering more than gaining from it. I think the only team that really went for a full-blown overhaul was Furia in the VCT lock-in, where they chose Viper and Harbor on Haven. It raised a lot of eyebrows, everybody had question marks on their faces, but it was quite an entertaining game to watch. Unfortunately, we won't get to see innovation like that anytime soon here. But this match, the battle between the gods, now this will decide which one of them gets to sit up in the heavens and which one of them comes crashing down on Earth in a fiery landing.
Okay, speak about a fiery landing, and we've got Autumn already pushing up all the way deep inside B. Not exactly deep, but yeah, now he definitely does. Dashes in all the way towards Link, wants to shut down a couple of players, but they've got no clue that Caramel's just sticking in the back sight, and he finds two. Huge one. Hoax is there to try and trade things out, but again, already the damage is dealt. It's a 2-on-3 situation in which clearly the opponents have a huge advantage in GodLike. They're on the verge of securing this round, but this might just be denied soon enough, but no, it's going to be the answer.
Great adjustment from GodLike. I love the way how Caramel was able to hold on for those initial pushes. The utility detected him. He fell back towards the back of site. And despite having the information on Caramel's position, the two remaining members of God's Reign tried to make their way towards a link. They were hoping that they could cut off that area and leave Caramel on an island where he would have no backup. But this man, we've seen him in action before, and he doesn't need any sort of backup. Great adjustments from GodLike, because while they were busy fighting inside the B site, I believe it was their Omen who even went out of the garage region, tried to fight towards Ras, and wrap around from behind.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of new audience that's going to be joining us inside this entire series. So just to let you guys know, you guys have no clue the opponents, God's Reign, of GodLike's opponents, how much heroics they've got inside their squad. Yeah, even Caramel is there on the side of GodLike. Even GodLike, they themselves is a complete stack lineup. But the opponents cannot be underestimated. They've got players like Autumn, Tix, who were just absolutely nuclear in their previous massive matchups. Just to let you guys know the score, Autumn was sitting on 17 kills and 18 deaths. And then you know Tix from the side of God's Reign, he was sitting on 17 kills and 18 deaths on the map of Haven. That was the previous Haven map. So both these players are of course going to be way too deadly. And then you've got a man like Wibor who's going to keep on delivering that consistency.
Yeah, man, Vibhor was a gem for that team, especially when they were facing Velocity Gaming, because Vibhor would be the one who was often on anti-flank, and he was also anchoring the sites really well on the defensive side. So that was quite an performance from him on Haven. But unfortunately, it still wasn't enough to overwhelm Echoes and Doma's magnetic reads. Doma was so big brain, and the same can go with Eccles. You know, he was just so present in these clutch situations. He was making a real difference. There were rounds which on paper should have been God's Reign, but Eccles just stole that morsel out of God's Reign mouth, left them hungry and dry.
And if you remember, every time Eccles made a clutch or at least popped off, he used to always have this expression, what are they doing? Like, you know, that type of an expression. So Eccles was just making it look so easy for himself. But again, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a technical timeout in front of us. We saw a lot of technical timeouts inside the VCT Pacific, and now it's time for South Asia. We need to replicate something, right?
Yeah, what's a little tournament without a little bit of technical issue? In fact,
the
timeout in VCT Pacific was so much that I managed to make my way back home. Like, I was in the Global Esports bootcamp. We were all having a nice little watch party over there. Of course, the energy was high. It was really fun. We had like a huge pizza party, and we were just supporting the team, right? But after the first
when am I gonna get invited?
As soon as you come to Mumbai, I'll take you over. That being said, we were all cheering for Global Esports in the first game. It seemed like we were doing well, but then we kind of lost the first game, right? And that's when I started making my way back home. Because, you know, I had to cast this game and everything. And I can't cast from the bootcamp, so I started making my way back home. I'm sitting in my auto rickshaw, and I'm watching the game on my phone. And I'm cheering so loudly because the second map, Global Esports, started owning T1. And I started cheering so loudly, my rickshaw wala was like, Bhai sahab, kya hua? And of course, I can't explain to him what's going on, but I just said that I'm really happy, and he was like, yeah, okay, cool, Crips doesn't want to talk. Let's just focus on driving. I'm not going to make conversation. I generally don't make conversations when I'm watching esports or something, unless I'm casting. But yeah, it was like a really emotional day for me. And then I got home back here. Lotus started off on a good note. By the time I came home, the score was like 4-4 or something like that. And I was like, yeah, cool. Global Esports can actually pull this off. And then they went and lost. So now I'm sad. Might have an ice cream later to cope with the loss.
It's fine. I'm pretty sure it was a sad day for a lot of the Indians.
Yeah.
Right, especially for me too. I was rooting for Global Esports, but as soon as I saw the map of Lotus and Global Esports weren't really able to pick off a lot of rounds on the attacking side, I was like, all right, this doesn't look good. And sort of the results were clear in front of my eyes. But you know what? Technical pause, Crips. As we all know, these are pretty much the podcast hours. This is where we can talk about a lot of stuff. And if we want, we can also talk about the game analysis and all that stuff and all that nerdy stuff. You want us to talk that or no?
Yeah. I mean, contrary to popular belief, I am a huge nerd. I don't look like one, but I like getting into the nitty-gritties. I like getting into the details.
Okay. I mean, I've personally never been that kid who was like too into studies and like, you know.
That
like,
seems kind of obvious. Oh, I mean, okay, when it comes down to studying, even I'm not really keen on studying. In fact, you remember there were always going to be a couple of students in your class when you were in school who would have these really cute multicolored notes with pens of like 5 different colors of ink.
Oh.
I never had that in my school days or college days, but I make multicolored notes now for esports. So
interesting. Speaking of that, it seems like the technical timeout's going to be pretty much ending over here. So the match continues once again. GodLike, they won the previous round, and that's why now they're going to have the guns advantage. They've got the SMGs and the Bulldogs on the board. Spectres.
Drop the spike.
That means one thing's for sure. They're going to try to take the battle head on. They will try to push up, try and get to their opponent's faces, and that's what seems like so far is happening. Zay is all the way up, pushed up on the A main. He wants to find at least the opening, and he will be greeted with one. Finds one, gets the second one too, but now the stun's there to try and suppress him. Zay is just way too quick with his aim.
Yeah, that's what you expect with a Bulldog up against a bunch of classics. In fact, this is something that I have to give credit to God's Reign for. They're one of the only teams that doesn't force spy after losing the pistol round. A lot of other teams will try to get desperate and try to gather momentum. They go for these force spies, which is essentially a gamble. God's Reign never buy into that pressure.
GodLike. Oh, he's just waiting for them. He's just waiting for them to try and funnel inside the smoke, and he was holding a nice little cheeky angle.
30 seconds left.
Found one, but now God's Reign, they're quite hurt. They've only got 2 players up and alive, and nothing can be expected from that one. Hika's just going to clean it up. A flawless round from Global Esports as expected. They're going to secure another one on the board, but this is where the true test begins.
Yeah, this is where the true test begins. This is where God's Reign
Wait,
will come in
Kamaljit is the
with,
coach?
I'm not sure if he's the coach or if he's the general manager of GodLike. I mean, he's sitting on the coach's seat for now, and he's competed in a lot of professional esports before, so he is capable of giving them some moral support and maybe even coaching. But as far as I know, he isn't just the coach, he is the general manager of GodLike. So
Revealing area.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, he's sitting in the coach panel, so I was like, okay.
I mean, he has a lot more responsibilities than just coaching, if he is indeed taking up that responsibility today.
True that. And I'm pretty sure he's going to have a blast doing so as well. There might be a roller coaster of emotions when God's Reign start hitting them hard. But it's fine. Pretty sure as a professional player, he himself must have dealt with that. But for now, every single player from the side of GodLike who were present on the C site, they pretty much pushed up deep. They've got a lot of information, and now Rex is going to convey the information to that. Everyone's just stacked outside A. It's an A hit, and Rex is giving up the call. You instantly do see on the minimap as well the rotation's on its way, but unfortunately the entire A site's now starting to crumble down. Caramel was the man on the site. He was able to trade things out, but instantly fall back.
4v4, superior weaponry present on God's Reign. The only way GodLike can actually make this retake work is by hitting the paranoia in the most perfect fashion. And they do it to some extent, but there's a team flash, and this is a bit of a mistake. God's Reign now get all the kills required, and Ember is just mopping the floor with them. They play along with each other. One plays for swing, the other one plays for contact, and this retake is the retake was thwarted.
Good round from God's Reign. GodLike tried to read into that. They did have 3 players on the C site, 2 of which were pushing all the way deep. They got a lot of information too, but I'm still doubting why was there not a quick regroup on the A site. There was no rotation quickly made. But still, it was just a bonus round, so it's not going to hurt them a lot. GodLike should get the Vandals and Phantoms on the board, and that's what they exactly do. Zay's going to be the man with the light shield, and he's also going to go for an aggressive peek long. And GodLike, this round really does matter to them quite a lot, because if they do lose out in this round, that means the economy is going to be quite hurt.
Look at the defaults for GodLike, though. They're so spread apart. One on A long, one A short. You've got the Killjoy on B, Breach on Garage, and then the Omen on C. And that's what happens when you try to peek all one by one. Zay gives up his life. God's Reign get the opening they've been looking for. And now they wait. Re-aggression from the Sova. Rexy drops the spike, and that was a crucial kill.
Huge kill. They've got no controller on the board now. How are God's Reign going to try to execute a sight? The visual denial utility is not going to be present inside the game anymore, and seems like Tix has heard a little bit something. Invindo is holding the flank angle, finds one, instantly falls back. Hika is going to be the man to follow it up. And it seems like Tix is not going to expect Hika to be on the flank, but the stun's definitely going to hit the players. 2-on-4 scenario in which GodLike, as I said, if they do lose out on this round, things are going to be quite difficult for them.
That wasn't Hika's stun, that was a team stun from Hoax.
Last player standing.
Yeah, but even though he stuns his own teammate, Hoax picks up the kill and makes up for it. God's Reign on 2.
God's Reign. A round on the board, that means, as I said, if GodLike does lose out on this round, the economy is going to be paper thin. So they are quite vulnerable at this point in time. They're probably going to go for an eco round. That's what it seems like. And GodLike, definitely not a start that they would have expected.
Yeah, not the start they would have expected. And even when they do get the weaponry needed to make a round work, they kind of just played one by one. This is probably what led to their demise. They aggressed, but individually. This time, at least, they're sticking together, you know? There's quite a lot of heat packing towards the B side and garage, so middle seems to be the clear point of contention for GodLike. That being said, they've left C completely open, which is vulnerable. God's Reign are about to hit it with the entirety of their force, and there will be nothing to stop it.
C-side controls taken in the hand. They knew that God is quite vulnerable. Of course, on an eco, so they're going to try to assert more dominance, and that's what they exactly do. C-side's in their hands. And on the other hand, GodLike suddenly got sheriffs on the board. And once you know if the opponents have sheriffs on the board, that means they are looking to hand out some haircuts. And you as a player are not supposed to do that. Oh, the Blade Storm was activated. Nothing found. No value there. And God's Reign, they're just able to clean up. They're able to mop him up like it's nothing. Trades were happening back and forth, but in the favor of God's Reign.
Yeah, God's Reign were never supposed to lose more than 2 players in this round, so this was destined for them to win. Unless they mess up in the most colossal fashion, this was supposed to be God's Reign round anyway. But regardless, GodLike did a pretty good job of trying to play aggressively towards mid. This is what I would have expected from them in an eco round anyway. I'm just glad that they didn't play the defaults the same way in eco like they are doing now. At least they've changed things up a little bit, you know. They've left garage empty and they're doubling up towards the C site. Zay with the op. This is the perfect counter to this push, and he starts off in a good way.
That was a nice little shot. And he's able to connect that too. So that's definitely a start. The players of GodLike really do want inside here. Astro, a quick flick onto the player will shut him down. But Vapor, as always, is able to step things up and try to save the day for his team. But that's not going to be the case, because Rexy's ultimate will pretty much just seal the deal onto Tix. GodLike, they were just ready for this hit.
Here.
Yeah, this time the reaction from GodLike was much, much faster. Zay, obviously the perfect counter to a C-long aggression. And even then, Astro was so patient over there. He did not try to shoot the jet which dashed inside towards the top of the box. Instead, he held his ground. And by the time he was alive and kicking, the backup from Hika arrived. The flashes were perfect to keep God's Reign back. And that Hunter's Fury was basically the cherry on top of the cake.
In the previous round, they were playing A on retake. They only had Rexy, who was on A.
Yeah, this time.
So interesting.
Yeah, this time GodLike have left C side empty. And if God's Reign decide to hit the C side, this will be a replication of the eco round, except this time GodLike will have a lot of utility.
Oh no! Fat-fingered! Fat-fingered! That happens with me as well. I'm a Jetman myself, and once you hit the shot, and if you unfortunately press the W button at the same time, it happens. It's a little fat finger thing that happens as a human. So a little mistake from his side. Unfortunately, he dashed forward, and that's why now it's going to cost his life. Oh, I feel him. That's one of the most annoying things that can happen to you as a Jet. He wanted a side dash, but unfortunately, he just dashed in the front, and now Autumn's going to punish every single player that stands up in front of him, because he got the operator now in his hands.
Yeah, what can Astro do? He's limping, bleeding internally. This just seems like a round where he's forced to save, but he tries to go for it regardless. Pays the price for it. Yeah, man, that was a really cool shot, but he just dashed in the wrong direction.
So, I don't know if you know. If if you don't press any keys, if you don't give any direction to the dash, and if you just
By
press
default,
E,
it will go forward. Yeah.
yeah, by default it'll go forward. So what happens is when you're opping with the jet, you're pretty much just leaving all your movement keys. And as soon as you take a shot and you want to dash away, and if you unfortunately press E by a millisecond before you press D, you're screwed.
Yeah, it's gonna done. Oh, a brave attempt to take the orb, but Zay's been discovered. Tries to make this risky cross. Meanwhile, on another part of the map, Vibor managed to get a collateral. That was just nuts. Vibor isn't even a primary opper. In fact, he's a killjoy opping on the attacking side of Haven. You would never expect something like this.
Vibor was just there holding the flank. They knew. They were sniffing it out. They sort of knew that there's a little flank going to come in from the side of C. The overextension was there from GodLike, and instantly they got punished with the collateral right on their chests. But again, they've got the Rolling Thunder available. I don't think so they're going to utilize any sort of utilities or the ultimates inside an eco round. They're here to just close some heads, hand out some haircuts with the sheriff. He's got a tremor available. If he wants, he can definitely go and try to use it. And he must have heard the alarm bot too. And yeah, Hika is also conveying the calls. They know it's an A take coming soon enough. But the alarm bot, unfortunately, is going to be a huge problem for him. Take spots out the flank, but Vupor will take care of it.
Oh, Zay trying to be the bunny jet. Won't happen.
Enemy remaining. Flawless.
Well, at least God's Reign don't lose any members in this round. For a second, I was really worried because the Blade Storm that he managed to activate towards A Long was looking quite deadly. And even though Aftershock was thrown to clear him out, he managed to dash away in the proper direction this time.
Oh man, you really got to do it, huh?
Yeah. We're both continuing with the op. That's quite interesting. Wait, was he an opper before? I don't remember him opping all that much.
As long as you know how to aim, you're good to go with the op.
Yeah.
And that's what Vapor is pretty much just over here telling us. Zay, on the other hand, though, on the defense side, of course, Operator's going to reward you way much more compared to the attack. Because, of course, on a high-level gameplay, the opponents is never going to peek out. They will try to be as disciplined as possible on the defensive half. And that's what it seems like. GodLike, they instantly fall back. They sort of sense that A take is coming in. That's why every single player just falls back. And now they're waiting on the Breach ultimate.
Okay, so both lockdowns have been dedicated, but Tix will at least destroy the first one with the Hunter's Fury. Keep in mind though, Astro can still make a massive difference. He's already on the flank, and he should be coming in from the backlines anytime soon. But the moment they try to plant this spike, the both Rolling Thunders roll across the playing field, pushing everybody into the air. Frags exchange as Ember manages to equalize the situation. He does get the kill onto Astro, who was trying to come in with the flank, but Tix is making mincemeat out of everybody.
Oh boy. Oh, another op shot connected on him.
Spike planted.
He's now just dancing on top of the players at GodLike's graves. And Tix is there to mop it up. Operator, of course, on the post plants is going to be way much more valuable compared to trying to take and execute or trying to take a side off of their hands. So, of course, that's why Autumn took over the op from Vapor and played the entire post plant with that operator. And it seems like we're also going to have a little tactical timeout.
Yeah, it's about time that GodLike bring a tactical timeout. You see, both the teams basically mirrored each other in this round, except for the Hunter's Fury. The first team plays the lockdown, the other one does it too. Both the teams use the Rolling Thunder at almost the same time to cancel each other out. Only the Hunter's Fury from the attacking side was a little bit of a surprise that we did not see coming. But even after all the ultimates are spoken about, the key difference maker in this round is that GodLike were aware about this push. You see, the aggressive positioning that Astro managed to get them, because Astro was deep towards the bottom of grass, he couldn't hear anything towards C. If God's Reign tried to fall back, he would have been the first one to get notified. And based on his positioning, the entirety of GodLike knew that God's Reign are indeed coming towards the A side. They were prepared to intercept this hit, and despite having the information, GodLike could not hold their ground. Now that is a big red flag for me.
After this tactical timeout, definitely GodLike has to come up with the kryptonite. They have to come up with a counter plan. Because so far, God's Reign, they're able to run away with a huge lead. They've got 3 rounds lead against GodLike, and GodLike definitely is looking quite jealous. Rexy is over there with the Marshall in his hands. And it seems like he's gonna try to at least connect some heads. He's trying to connect some dots with the gun he's got in his hands. Marshall, of course, you're not gonna have a lot of room for error with that gun. You need to connect those heads. That was quite a wide jump peek, but Astro, at least he gets the info, and he also gets tagged up. Not a good news for him, but not a lot of HP deducted from his side. Caramel gets picked off. GodLike, now the defense is cracked up. God's Reign, on the other hand, though, they're just playing this so safe and passive. A lot of discipline being shown from the side of God's Reign. The operator passed on over to Vibors. That means Autumn is now just straight up gonna dash inside the site. Autumn will be the man to take the fight to their faces. And it seems like Astro does know. He senses the push coming in. He's ready with the paranoia. Instantly pops out of smoke. Paranoia invested his ball. But now the huge problem is Autumn.
30 seconds
Because
left.
Autumn's on top of the default box and he's searching for the victims. And he will find one. Astro shut down. The Marshall's not going to work out that well. God's Reign, they're able to crack open the wall that GodLike tried to put in front of them.
Planted.
Again, it was just an eco route, so it was not that tough. But still, GodLike weren't even able to find a lot of bodies, and that's something that's going to quite hurt them quite a bit. Well, Borscht takes down the final man. Zay not inside the game anymore. Unfortunate stuff on his side. And God's Reign with yet another round on the board. As I said, this was a debut matchup for the Filipino players on the side of GodLike, and unfortunately, they're not going to be able to at least show that much impact, it seems like, in the first half. Because the opponents are able to run away with the lead. I'm not sure if they've got the land jitters. But so far, the activation just isn't there.
Blocking sight.
Once again, Autumn with the operator in the hand wants to find the opening. He's going quite aggressive. He's hungry for the blood. He got ready with a flash. As soon as GodLike hears any sort of presence, any sort of movement outside of AMA, and the flash and the peak's going to be coming in. And that's what the players of God's Reign so far are anticipating as well. God's Reign know the competition isn't going to be that easy. They need to take it slow and safe and sound. You can't be too aggressive. But Zay was holding that peak, and Vibor does not see coming. Gets shut down. Autumn, on the other hand, pushing up all the way on the A site. He's found up a little bit of space for himself onto A main, and now the call's going to be made. Unfortunately, Autumn gets taken down. The alarm bot was triggered on the short, and now the players of GodLike are on red alert. They're on high alert. They know exactly what's going on here. They know the players of God's Reign really do want this A side back in their hands, but GodLike, they're going to try to fight back this time. They're not going to give the site control away. Rexy's right on the edge, right on the defender spawn. And look at GodLike. Oh, they're able to shut down the entire push, and now it's all down to Hoax. A good read coming in from GodLike. Definitely a round they really needed desperately. And they sort of get it in their hands too. Astro on to see. Oh, that's a nice shot to shut down Astro. Hoax is able to enter inside the site, but he's the only man left alive. He caught a little shot onto himself with the operator. He's not going to be able to stay alive for that long, and he will be taken care of. GodLike, though, this pick from Zay, it was quite crucial because Wibor's being the man who has been creating a lot of problems for GodLike. And he was also the man who was creating a lot of problems for Velocity too in the past. So if you're going to get rid of Wibor, that's a huge man. That's a huge threat neutralized. Hunter's Fury on the board for Tix. And I'm not sure if he's going to be saving that Hunter's Fury for the lockdown of Caramel. Because you need that Hunter's Fury if the lockdown's invested by the defending side to try and stop your push, pretty much just counter your push. Drone's out in mid to get any sort of info, and what a shot from Vibor. Was able to shut down the man this time. And Vapor, it doesn't matter even if he got picked off last time. He's not going to be scared to peek the same angle again. Oh, that was a nasty shot. And a great way to kick things off inside this round. GodLike, they definitely got a huge answer back. A huge slap back on their faces. And GodScreen, B take is it. They're going to straight up just dash inside the B site. Already they've got the duelist on the side. Astro, what a shot! And Astro's just going to start lining them up back. Oh, one after the other. They just line up for Astro. And he shuts every single player down like it's nothing. What a round from Astro. Stepping up huge for his team. Could have been the ace too. But there were way too many players in front of him. And every single player just lined up. And GodLike, that was definitely a round they were searching for. Oh, and it does seem like the players of GodLike are definitely having a little bit of jitters. Because you saw, he put the first bullet right in the face of the enemy, which was Autumn. And he accidentally pulled out his ult. So that was quite questionable. So I think so there are going to be a little bit of land jitters. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that was it for the first half.
Yeah, it really was a heroic performance from Astro towards the end there. And let's see if he can continue wearing this cape in the second half. But we'll see all of that after a short break.
Can't feel my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Can't feel my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and our lovely audience to Valorant Challenger South Asia, driven by Hyundai. After an amazing first half, of course, both these teams are fighting and are giving it all they have. And we saw an amazing 4K from Astro, where every single player just lined up in front of him. And Crips, you saw that. As soon as he got the first kill onto Autumn, he instantly pulled out his ult. And I think so that was a fat finger as well. And most of the time, fat fingers happen when you're nervous.
Whether they're nervous or not, they definitely seem to be in prime position to plant this spike, but that was before the aftershock came in and ruined their plans. Now GodLike need to go for a different approach, but they still have plenty of time. They haven't committed too much of their own utility, so they can still make it work.
The Spitzer round's going to mean quite a lot to them. 7-5 is the score line, so again, GodScreen, they don't really have a huge lead. Definitely the lead's quite redeemable. But GodLike, all they need to do is connect some nasty shots. But this time it's going to be Autumn from GodScreen who make it happen. Tick still present on the B site. Unfortunately, another player's going to be lost out. And GodLike, they're not able to find any sort of picks for themselves. Instead, they're getting picked off. Vapor once again pushes out, pushes the limits, and is able to shut down another one. 2 players remaining from GodLike, with Rexy taken down way too low. He's hurt, he's bleeding, and GodLike knows that now taking this round in their hands is going to be quite tough unless some heroic play's been pulled off, and Caramel needs to step up huge once again. He does find one, but that's all he's going to get because Hoax is in his prime.
Hoax isn't just in his prime to get the kills by himself, but he's also setting up players like Autumn and Tix for kill. Even Vibor, for that matter, was able to do a lot of damage towards Garage simply because Hoax was able to flash for him and stun for him at the right time. So amazing presence from Hoax over there. This entire mid area of the map was dominated by Hoax and his aggressive breach presence.
Oh man, GodLike, they lose out another round.
Yeah. And imagine that GodLike did such a heroic play towards the end of that first half. Astro was moving fearlessly, just like the Philips 1 blade. And despite all of that, they can't convert the pistol, which gives GodScreen a big enough lead. Even the economic momentum. I'm actually surprised that GodLike isn't going for a force buy of their own. It's just a bunch of sheriffs.
I like that they've got a lot of confidence on their sheriffs, even inside the eco round. On the defending side, we saw a lot of sheriffs being pulled out from GodLike, but we haven't seen any sort of statements being made in those eco rounds. Caramel, catches a bullet on his leg. He's taken down way too low. Zay wants to connect the bullet right on his head, wants to hand out a haircut, but so far isn't able to successfully do so. And again, as we all know, if GodLike lose out on this round, GodSerene will definitely have a huge confidence booster for themselves. And the chances of GodLike losing these rounds is quite a lot.
Yeah, only 30-something seconds left, and they barely have any map control to show for it. They haven't even tried to do a lot of fakes or make their presence known towards other parts of the map.
Left.
As soon as the jet dashes back, it's quite clear for GodSerene that GodLike are indeed heading towards an A hit, and Autumn is ready. He's racking up all the kills. And while the rest of GodLike do try to infiltrate from a short, Caramel can't really get much done. Zay brings forth a glimmer of hope before he's plunged back into the darkness by Tix. And that is yet another clean round for GodSerene.
Ooh, GodSerene watch party. Let's go. Everyone's hyped up. They're cheering up for their team. They're happy to see him succeed. And those shots from Autumn. Oh, good shots. Again, just an eco round. Those eco frags do get sometimes quite easy to obtain if the opponent team's just in front of you. And if they're not able to land those shots. 5-9 is the scoreline. And GodLike, they're looking quite vulnerable. The gods are now starting to bleed. But the other gods, they're looking pretty comfortable. Zay inside the garage area looking for the opening his team really and desperately needs. And so far, Zay hasn't found that. But he's still on a prowl. He's on the hunt for that opening. Ember's position compromised. And Ember sort of knows too there's someone exactly present inside the garage area, so he does not want to peek out over there too, and Ember's sort of sandwiched in this scenario.
Yeah, but there's nobody else defending garage. Ember alone can't do much by himself. He's about to get sandwiched, double peeked. Even Tix couldn't handle all that heat by himself. Nice shot by Autumn, but then again, GodLike have the superior weaponry, so we don't expect GodSerene to make too much impact in this round. A little bit of economic dent, that's all they hope for.
And yeah, even if GodSerene do lose out on this round, it's not going to hurt them quite a lot. They're still going to have the economy to buy for the upcoming round. Autumn! This man is just a huge threat with the Sheriff. He's able to hand out some nice shots. And he's going to find one more. How does he make it happen? A 3K with the Sheriff. Anyone who stands against him will get taken down easily. He's also got the Blade Storm available. But he doesn't really have a lot of time left in his hands because the spike is taken away. And there's also now the round.
Yeah, there's a Vandal dropped right in front of him, so he can probably just take it, get away with it. Although, considering that GodSerene have enough money in the next round, he doesn't really need to save enough weapons.
But this is a huge problem for GodLike. Now their eco is in quite a problematic stage. They lost out on 3 of their weapons.
Yeah.
That means 3 of the players are going to have broken buys on GodLike. On the other hand, one thing is for sure that the opponent team's going to have superior weaponry.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly why he was not at all concerned with saving the Vandal, because he knew that he would have money in the next round anyway. In fact, forget having money for a Vandal or anything. He's going to buy the op, straight up.
And he's also got the Blade Storm available. If things do start getting dicey,
Yeah.
he will pull out the Blade Storm.
And then slice and dice.
Pretty much. GodSerene, this time taking things a little cautiously. They have managed to pretty much take a lot of guns off their opponent's hands. And we talked about having a little bit of broken buys here and there. Zay's already tacked up quite a lot. He's only on 56 HP. Considering he's the duelist, he needs to have the most amount of HP available to try and make some space on the site. Look at this teleport. He wanted to teleport on top of the box, but it's not going to matter. His teammates are there to back it up. Oh, the backup was so quick and GodLike, they're not able to read into it. GodSerene, on the other hand, though, the reads are just so good.
Yeah, and the timing for this aggression is also immaculate. You've got the Paranoia along with the fault line, all of them thrown at once towards B lobby, basically carpet bombing the area. If anyone does manage to dodge the utility, won't be able to dodge the bullets.
30 seconds left.
Yes, Ember tried to teleport on top of the box and he failed, but it doesn't matter because the rest of his teammates were present over there to provide him with all the backup he needs. Caramel has a nearly impossible task. Spike dropped so deep, there's no way he can recover it. And God's Reign reached double digits.
With a little touch of aggression, God's Reign, that entire A-short push worked out so well for them. Because he also had Tix backing him up. Ember found one, but then Tix with a 2K. Oh, that was some heroic presence. Some heroic trading from his side. But look at Vapor, so stoic. Oh, man. How does he not have any expressions on his face? Like, I've been seeing this man over the years, and I've never seen him laugh, or I've never seen him have any sort of emotion. The only face that he has is just a complete neutral face. You know what? We're seeing a lot of Patrick Bateman memes out there. I feel like now it's time to replace those with Vapor.
I mean, he's not a complete psychopath, but yeah, Catamel's feeling himself. He deleted Hoax. Another smoke in the way. This will keep GodLike at bay, but Catamel still wants to explore the curvatures. It's kind of weird. Astro has placed this smoke, not Ember. And it's the kind of smoke you place when you want to stop anyone from entering B, which isn't really the idea over here. Although, that B presence doesn't really matter because Zay is trying to fight towards A. But at the same time, the spike is heading towards C, so GodLike is all over the place.
He couldn't Caramel are a little soften up. They're on an HP deficit. Ember doesn't connect the first initial bullet, so now he will need to back out, pretty much give the side away. If he would have connected those shots, so at least one thing was for sure, that the information denial would have been there. Shakhtar was pretty good on the mark. Will soften up another member in the opponent team, but once again, God's Reign, it seems like they're sort of falling down. GodLike Astro is inside quite an interesting position. Near garage, playing inside the smoke, wait for any sort of contact, and he will peek out instantly. Hunter's Fury invested as well, but they've got the plant all the way, or they've got the defuse all the way to the half. Tix is gonna stick it, and they've got it all the way to the half, and all they need to do is pretty much just stick it a little bit more, and that's what they exactly do. GodLike, even though they were able to mop it up, but it's not gonna matter. God's Reign, they get the round secured.
Yeah, you need to have nerves of steel to be able to stick that. There's a massive Hunter's Fury in your face, and you just tank all that damage. Ember is like, nope, my life is not as important as the cause, not as important as the round. Yes, there was some stylish shots from Astro towards the end, but those were only consolation frags, man. God's Reign is running away with this game. They're on the verge of getting map point.
Operator into play. Oof. This is that shot, quite a close one. 2-1 Zay. This man has a lot of confidence. Peeks out in the open. 2-1 Operator. He's not scared of anything. Tix, on the other hand, though, pushes out of the smoke. He wasn't expected to be that aggressive. And he finds one, and just like a thief in the night, escapes back. Runs away. Man advantage in the favor of God's Reign. Autumn's taken down to half HP. Stuns available too. Hoax is just going to stun out the B-man area. Recon darts giving, of course, a lot of information to GodLike, but Tix is always there. He's like a man who's watching, and he's never gonna let anyone cross on the site.
No way, dude. God Reign adjusts so well. The fact that there was a paranoia thrown by Ember, it doesn't connect, but the fact that he throws it itself shows how good of a read they had on GodLike before they even started to enter the B site. The recon dart on B wasn't broken in time, but that is completely okay because Hoax managed to get a kill regardless. And when Hoax gets in trouble, Tix manages to get two, especially when he was paranoid. And just when everybody else was busy fighting towards either A-Link or C-Link, Vapor finds the timing, goes all the way around from garage, backstabs the last few players. And there you have it, folks. God's Reign on map point, and Autumn is just delving this advantage further into the ground, solidifying it with cement, concrete, and steel. But Hika, nice turnaround.
12 rounds on the board. All they need is one more round to seal the deal. God's Reign. Interesting way to play this one. Autumn, he's got a shorty in the hand. Even though he has an operator on the back, he's still going to take the fight on the face. Relied a little bit too much on the shorty, and sometimes the shorty's not that reliable. It can backstab you at times, and that's what exactly happened with Autumn. Now it's a 3-on-2. GodLike, only 2 players remaining, but a little too much on their shoulders. Oh, this is huge read!
Antix is ready to intercept this
One
one.
enemy
He saw it
remaining.
coming from a mile away.
Spike down.
Bibor
C.
beats him to the punch, and Vika is left all by himself, alone in a cold and lonely world, facing a desolate fate. Defeat staring him in the face, and the odds against him.
They knew it's the last round for GodLike anyways.
30 seconds left.
Or God. So GodLike, the chances of them utilizing that from the shadow were quite a lot. And GodLike, they read into it like a book. They knew the teleport was coming in anytime soon. And they straight up start just rotating towards the seaside. What a read! GodLike, they were reading the players of GodLike like a book every single time. And GodLike,
Exactly.
in the upcoming map, they need to bring the element of surprise.
God's Reign bring these reads, which are difficult even for high caliber players like Echoes to deal with. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, Echoes and Doma from Velocity Gaming have been to the Masters, the highest stage that one can aspire to be on. And the people in God's Reign gave those guys a tough run for their money when it comes to reading the strats and coming up with counters. GodLike basically never stood a chance in this game.
They never, I mean, at least as we did know in the second half, I was saying this, it seems like GodLike are just starting to run away with a huge lead. But ladies and gentlemen, we've got a lot to talk about the previous game, and we'll talk about it after this short break.
Can't for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Making dreams come true and memories happier.
I know my destiny.
us to push on over to the upcoming map, and we're going to be jumping inside the Asian Select. But before we do so, welcome all our lovely YouTube audience to Valorant Challenger South Asia, driven by Hyundai. It's our time to jump inside the Asian Select, and as you guys do see, ASTER being pulled out by Astro. So pretty much it's going to be a regular composition that we keep on taking a look. But Rexy this time, he's going to go with a Soa, and on the other hand, Hoax with a KO. Interesting choice, but I still feel like on the map Pearl, KO is a little bit more impactful.
Yeah, even I was about to say so. The KO Fade is the general initiator composition that everybody picks. It's been a while since I've seen Soa in Pearl.
Yeah. Again, I feel like it's one of those reasons, right? Because Pearl has so many of those small rooms inside, right? You've got arts, you've got A main, even inside A main, you've got those lanes where you don't exactly know where you want to dart. So you don't really have a lot of open ground where you want to make the scan from. And there's so many areas where you can hide. On the other hand, though, you can never hide from a 0 point as long as you're able to destroy it. So, of course, KO is way much more vital, way much more important on the map of Pearl, but let's see. Maybe they've got something on the back of their heads with the Soa, but I highly doubt the Soa is going to be that impactful.
Yeah, but that being said, the Sky presence is going to be felt definitely. Hika is amazing with these flashes, whether he's playing Breach or whether he's playing the Sky, he's almost always able to connect them, and there's very little chances of his opponents dodging those flashes, so that is a good thing. I would swap out the Sky with the KO occasionally. Both of them have essentially the same job, except KO has like an extra molly. But other than that, their ability to gather information is more or less the same, except that Sky has this little dog that you can use to clear out the corner angles, which gives them quite a lot of advantage if you have something like Fade, right? You then get the Fade Prowlers twice, you get the Sky Dog twice. Basically, no corners will go unchecked if you have a composition like that. But yeah, I am a little skeptical about the Soa. Although, if he has some pre-planned shock dart lineups which can destroy the Killjoy utility, that will be a real big pain in the side for the team of God's Reign. Keep in mind that a lot of these teams fail. Forget the Challenger South Asia. Even in lock-in, a lot of the teams on Pearl were not able to win their attacking sides on Pearl because they did not destroy the KJ youth quickly enough on the defensive side. So if somehow Rexy is able to find a shock dart for that alarm bot and that turret every single round, it will really piss Caramel off, and it will really ruin his game. I'm sorry, it will piss Vibor off and it will ruin his game.
The comic store always is something that catches my eye. It's a huge eye candy. Yep. Observer's going to show that. Of course, got nice little jet posters as well in the back, but yeah, I wish I was able to buy that in real life. We've got God's Reign in front of us on the attacking side, and they're going for an arts control. There is an alarm bot waiting for them, and Caramel is playing off of that contact. Alarm bot's now going to go off, so that means information's clearly conveyed. They know that the arts take is now in process. They've got the updraft and the dash cooking up, and the Jet's going to straight up dash inside the site. They've got the site control. Astro was able to find one, and Zay's able to try and at least neutralize things for now, but in the end, we're going to left with a 2-on-3. 2 players on the side of GodLike on the defending side, and 3 players on the attacking side, and every single player's already posted up for the post plant. I'm a little worried for GodLike, and I'm pretty sure every single player from God's Reign is now going to play so disciplined.
Yeah, the Haunt basically revealed both of them, and everyone's gonna pound on Hika. No chance for this man. God's Reign make the pistol round look so easy. It's almost like they never struggled. They didn't even have to do too many complicated things to get into the ace site. It was basically open welcome for them.
Okay, to be honest, I don't understand why the Haunt wasn't broken in time, because whenever the Haunt's utilized, you can hear it coming a mile away. Yeah. So you should know where the Haunt's about to land. But again, we don't exactly know what was going on there in the heads of the players. It was 2-on-3, definitely convertible into a victory. But God's Reign, they start off with a pistol round. Definitely a start they were looking for. Definitely a start they were searching for. And now they're also going to have the supreme weaponry. The superior weaponry, if I'd like to say so. A technical timeout on the board. GodLike, they're looking so good so far. GodLike, of course, under a lot of pressure. And as we did say, this is the debut matchup for the Filipino players, Astro and Zay. They've got a lot on the line. They need to prove something over here on this stage. And a lot of other players who were the imports, they have done so far. These imports are proven out to be so huge for the teams. But so far, GodLike just isn't able to find that sweet tuning. They aren't able to find that right spot. Let's see what sort of a technical timeout this is. Seems like Hika's having a little bit of issues. Hopefully we're going to get that fixed up soon enough. We do see some couple of League Ops members there to assist him. And it's at this tech pause. This might just be a little momentum breaker from the side of for GodLike, because again, if a team's having that momentum rolling in their favor and there's a huge technical pause, or at least there's tech pause, this can be a momentum breaker. And we've seen that happen a lot of times too. And once the momentum breaks, the enemy team gets a huge chance to try and make a comeback. Basically what happens is that if you do have that amount of time to collect yourself and pretty much just rethink all you've did, and you pretty much just get a lot of time to talk it out and to try and fix all the stuff that you've did wrong. So tech pauses can be momentum breakers.
Round, especially in their match against VLT, we saw that sometimes the pistol round momentum that they acquired was completely thwarted out. So it does become a little bit of a concern. And that being said, you have to appreciate one thing about GodLike is that they're not the kind of team that will force spy in the second round if they've already lost the pistol. They're not the kind of team that goes for gambles like those, which is kind of a rare thing these days, you know, because I see almost every other team trying to go for the force buys.
And force buys, again, it's like a high risk, high reward scenario.
Yeah.
If you're going to be able to pull it off, then everything will start going in your favor. But if you're going to mess that force buy up, that means you're pretty much just going to end up giving up 2 more rounds to your opponents. So it's a high risk, high reward. And you should only utilize that when you have the last option. That should be your last option, is to force buy. When nothing's working out in your favor and you've got the second half in your hand and you've absolutely been dominated on the first half, that's when you should go for force buy.
Yeah, when you have nothing to lose, when you've got no choice, that's when a force... Normal circumstances, when you don't have anything to lose, when it's just the start of the game and you don't really need to go for a force buy. Okay, my bad.
Tech pause still extends. We're not able to figure out what the exact issue is, but we all know once we have the tech pauses, that means it is going to be a nice little podcast hours, a time for us to have a little chit chat, discuss about stuff, about the games, about life, and talk about a lot of stuff in general. Now again, so far as I mentioned, the synergy is definitely lacking from the side of GodLike. On the other hand though, GodLike, their imports are doing a great work. They're doing a great job. The Australian imports are doing just so good. And if you've got another man, another demon-like rapport to try and work things off with, then it's just going to add the icing on top of the cake. As you do see inside the replays how exactly GodLike were able to just do so good in the previous map. They were able to all the time get the side control in the hands, and then later on, even the post-plant scenarios, they were just looking so clean and so strong. To get the side off of their hands, it was way too tough. And this was the fat finger moment, the buttery fingers, as you like to call it.
Yeah, that was a bit painful to watch. And it was such a good shot too. He should have been able to get away. But these mechanical errors sometimes happen and they result in deaths. But hey, you know, whenever I cuss, I always have this thing. I never really criticize the mechanical errors. So if someone misses their shot or if someone doesn't make the proper movement, I don't criticize that as much as I criticize the decisions that were made. Those are the ones that bring a lot more downfall to your team if you mess that up.
feel like it really depends on the depth of the scenario as well.
Yeah, that too.
And if you're going to be making those mechanical mistakes when the scoreline's just way too on the edge and you need to be as precise as you've ever been, and if you are going to miss those shots when you really need to, for example,
Hicka.
if I remember correctly, against, Hicka moment in the OT,
Yeah, I mean, what can you
then
even do
that's
about it?
something.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, again, I mean, as I mentioned, right, it's just like one of those panic moments where you're just trying to spam your weapon and hope that the enemy's going to die. But
Yeah.
again, your classic recoil, the random recoil hits you in the face, and classic is like, nah, I'm not going to connect.
Yeah. I mean, that Hicka moment was a bit unfortunate. It allowed Knight Rider to clutch up a 1v2 scenario. Knight Rider was even blinded, by the way. His, I don't know who the teammate was.
He was
along
stunned.
with
He
him.
was stunned.
He was stunned. I think there was even a paranoia thrown on top of him, so he was completely incapacitated, not in a position to fight back. And yet somehow he
Ooh.
managed to pull off that 1v2 on 20 HP. So that is impressive. But then again, that's one
wanna see
moment.
those- I want to see those notes on God's Green Coach. Show me those notes, man.
On Cyborg.
Slide in my DMs.
Ah. Yeah, Cyborg does make
Yeah,
good
the-
notes, but you should see Godspeed's notes. Those are even more impressive. He makes these volumes, man. He just has these huge documents which span like some 10-15 pages. All of them preparation for just one particular game. It's quite fascinating to see him work.
Interesting. Interesting. And the tech pause extends. Is today the tech pause day?
Yeah, man, it seems like every tournament all over the globe is having tech issues. VCD Pacific added. We have it over here. Hey, at least it gives us more time to chit-chat, so I'm not that sad about it.
Exactly, right?
Well,
And
I mean, this reminds me that, I mean, now that we have some time to discuss it, and also because we are facing, Haven, I would like to point out a couple of weaknesses that GodLike displayed in the previous game. Of course, you need to take it with a pinch of salt because their previous game did not field their proper roster. They had stand-ins in that roster. But one problem that I noticed over there was that in the mid-round situations, they kind of tend to freeze up when they've lost the early man advantage and they don't have as many players alive. They would still, even as defenders, try to go ahead and try to neutralize the situation by playing more aggressively, trying to go for these solo picks again and again.
look, to be honest, when GodLike had their two stand-ins, it felt like they were mainly just they were mainly just working on those pop strategies, right? You send the duelist in the front, he goes inside the site, tries to find the opening, tries to execute, try to just something, and once he does that, the entire team will sort of follow it up in the back as well. So they weren't really having those type of executes. They weren't really having those critical or huge executes.
I need my hands. This life is real. Can't play pretend. Came off the beach. I get it in.
I know my destiny. I know my destiny. I know my destiny. I know my destiny.
With that being said, welcome our lovely YouTube audience once again after the tech pause to VCSA, and we are going to be continuing this entire matchup on the map of Pearl. We did see GodLike start off, or at least kick things off on a great note, but now this is where the test will be conducted.
Ooh, there's two players hiding towards the back of B halls. You wouldn't expect both of them to be there. Plenty of utils thrown down the narrow corridor. Molotovs burning each side. But as soon as they get inside, the shorty is out of range. There's still plenty of players being fed into ticks, and God's Rain is just lapping all of them up.
Oh, Tix with a 3K, just collecting those eco frags. Rexy on the back lines. He was the last man up and alive, and as expected, of course, GodLike are going to collect those frags, and they are going to have some nice little smiles on their faces. Of course, every single person in the watch party as well, they're having big smiles on their faces.
Yeah. They are smiling for now. I hope they can convert this buy down in their favor, and then maybe even GodLike get a reason to smile. Although the map choice itself kind of gives me a little bit of jitters, you know, because GodLike are the ones who have picked up this map, but what they don't know is that last time God's Rain played this map against Velocity, God's Rain villainly picked Pearl. So this happens to be the strong map of both of these teams.
Oh, look at this aggressive push from Zay. Want to collect some information early off this time, and Ember is pushing up. Oh, Hika's caught a little bullet onto himself, and instantly the fragment's gonna follow it up too. That combination was so perfect. They knew there's someone trapped behind the pillar, and they used that tether and also the fragment at the same time.
Yeah, that's an instant kill. The tether reduces your HP in half, and the fragment in a single tick can just devour it. Poor.
Oh my god!
At least he... Oh, wait. I thought that was a dink, but there's still plenty of HP left onto Astro. Still, he's almost a dead man, dude. 35 HP is nothing.
I mean, he had a bulldog in the hand, so it's understandable.
Yeah.
That's how much damage it's going to give you when you're up close and personal. But look, there's 2 players watching that double doors area. They know Astra's going to peek out.
It's kind of poetic how Astro is playing the Astra, you know? God's Reign, though.
Exactly.
They're starting their dance. They're starting the ritual. You know how in the olden days people would have these little rituals where they would pray to the gods in a weird ritualistic dance and then they would hope for the rain? Well, that was like the kind of rain that falls from the sky, not the one that's spelled with a G.
Did you read the text?
Yeah, will
on
Sai
the
be
viewer's
playing?
phone?
Yeah,
Sai
yeah.
will play. And I think so that's going to happen on the 3rd map if we do go to split.
Oh, okay. That's going to be nice. It's going to be refreshing to see Sai back on the server. Caramel, though, always refreshing to watch. Even with the Sheriff, he's just a deadly man. GodLike lost the previous buy rounds, and now they're relegated down to nothing but Sheriffs. Zay looking to make first contact. And Hika's right around the corner, hoping he can peek along with them at the same time, but Hika will miss the timing by just a little bit.
What was that shot? Just fires in the blind and finds one. And again, Zay was a little too close for comfort. That's why he got taken care of as well. He was trying to jump spot some player, but had no clue that there are going to be 2 players just watching. Hoax with a nice lurk is going to find Rexy, but Astro is going to lurk the man who was lurking. This is quite a late flank from Astro. Has a Sheriff in the hand, so definitely does have the potential to connect those shots and maybe shut down the player. And he does connect. But Hoax, no matter what, even if he does catch a dink onto himself, he still picks out.
Oh, and now they're crying. I love these God's Reign people, man. I love these guys.
They're vibing.
Yeah.
Going to Astral.
Cry is free. That's what they say.
Ooh.
I mean, that's
You know-
obviously Twitch language, but we don't have that
Earlier
over here.
today, when I was looking at some Instagram reels, right? I was scrolling through and I read this quote. As a warrior, you need to learn that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional.
That sounds something straight out of anime.
That's what. No, it wasn't an anime. It was just like a reel. I don't know if that was a movie or something, but it sounded kind of cool, right? It sounds pretty cool.
It is cool. You know what else is cooler? This push from Zay. GodLike have tried to fight aggressively towards B ramp in the past, but they've never been this deep before. Oh, Zay had the golden opportunity, couldn't capitalize the first time, but he at least takes Report's head off. And then Hika reinitiates towards the T-spawn. No. Astro gets taken off towards the A side, and with GodLike pushing all the way towards the B and A being clear, Rex has all the onus of defense on himself. He's the man standing over here. The Prowler almost bit him in the face, but he's good enough for now. He's continuing to hold his ground. Caramel comes in for backup, and all of a sudden God's Reign, who had the God's plan working for them, will find an opening.
30 seconds
He
left.
saw his own death inside that drone, and he attacked him at the last second. But Ember has sneaked up already, all the way on the backside, shut him down pretty much in the pocket. And now here we go. The last man is not going to be able to do much. Caramel will be able to put the final nail in the coffin. GodLike, they finally get the first round on the board. And Kamaljit, he doesn't seem quite happy with the team. Look at the expression on his face.
I mean, I wouldn't know
Sort
what
of-
kind of expression to have on my face because this round was such a roller coaster, right? First, we saw
Yeah.
the flank from Zay. I was like, yeah, this is great. Then he missed the shot on the KO. I was like, oh no. And then he kills the Killjoy regardless. I'm like, okay then, no problem. Hika dies. That again makes me sad. And then Rexy is caught on the A side by himself. I'm really worried for him. He does well enough to not only get a couple of kills, but also allow Caramel to sneak in. So the entire round GodLike seemed like they were in control. Then they lost it, and then they got it back again. It's just too much to deal with.
Oh, look at the amount of information that's been given away. Caramel just standing inside the fragment, and it's not going to matter. Caramel peeks out, shuts down the man who had the null command popped. The resurrection's being stuck as well. Is the rest going to be back up? And yes, it is. Hoax is back on his feet. Another lifeline given to Hoax. And in the end, now we're going to be balled down to a 2-on-3 scenario. Hoax is back up on his feet. The only player who's sort of soften up on the side of Godsreen is Autumn.
Nice.
And Zay's trying his best to try and do something
Whoa.
over here. He finds two. One more to go. Zay is the final boss of Godlike.
No
and
way.
this time, Hoax won't be able to defeat him. What a clutch.
Oh, this final boss missed his opportunity in the previous round. He missed his promotion, and now he's stepping up in all sorts of gruesome ways. What a hero play from Caramel too. Tanked the fragment damage, and then he went for the push. Knew that it would just boil down to timing. But Zay, on the other hand, my god, he had zero advantage going into that last fight, but he is an absolute beast. Makes it work despite the odds being stacked against him.
Let's go.
2-4. And Godlike, they're clawing their way back inside the overall board. In the scoreboard. Operator on the deck. That means B-Long is going to be quite risky to go. Zay's on the operator. On the other hand, you can see Autumn as well. He's going to be posted up onto B-Long. He's slowly and steadily making his way, but he needs to dodge out of at least the first bullet. Zay isn't peeking out yet. But this time, Zay might just find the opening that he's looking for, and he does. The controller's taken care of. And there's going to be no one to put any sort of smokes for the side of Godsreen. This time, they will need to completely rely on their aim.
Go on. Peek him again. Peek him. I dare you. I double dare you. They're just waiting, man. Once again, the patience in both these operas, Zay and Autumn, just staring at each other. Of course, we can see them through the X-ray, but the patience has got to be nerve-wracking. 40 seconds on the clock. Godsreen get to have any sort of map control towards any other part of the map. It's either B or nothing. They can't fall back at this time. And now they go in for the full send. Pont and 0 Point both committed. Fragment towards the left, Nanoswarm towards the right. That's gonna boil the remaining members of Godlike out of this site. And Hika's trapped over there. Vibor finally burns him alive. The Seas did not let him escape, and the Nanoswarm chipped away at his health.
And Zay's still alive with the operator in the back. Autumn is just continuing to cause ruckus on the site. Autumn's op definitely was able to find a lot of answers for his team, but Zay's just waiting for him to peek out. And Autumn is going to deny that. He's not going to peek out just yet. He's trying to play as disciplined as possible. It's a 3-on-4 scenario. Godlike really do need all the picks they can find. Nice shot from Zay. And he's also going to open the fray up. Now it's going to be an equalizer, 3-on-3 situation in which Zay did not expect the man to be so close. Another trade found. And now the trades are starting to happen back and forth. But in the end of the day, Godlike, they're able to equal things out. It's a 1-on-1 situation. Caramel has a lot of pressure. He also catches a little bullies onto himself. But he's not going to be able to clutch. Or maybe he will.
I think there's enough time. Yeah,
Yep.
Caramel's got this in the bag with less than a second left on the clock, man. That was too close for comfort. It boiled down to so many brawls in the end over there. Whatever flank either side had cooked up was red. And I was kind of concerned because Astro was very far away from the action. By the time he came over, a couple of crucial seconds would be lost. So I thought that there wouldn't be enough time. And then all of a sudden, Caramel just turns everything around. Tix goes unchecked, but Caramel is just the cleanup monster. He accounts for every single thing. And up until now, Caramel has been the absolute pinnacle of performance from Godlike. Doesn't matter who he's facing. Doesn't matter whether he's facing MLT Esports or if he's facing God's Reign. He will show up.
A tactical timeout from Godlike. They need to talk it out to each other. They did win the previous round, but still, now they know this is where the real stuff is going to start to knock their door. Because even their opponents, their counterparts, Godsreen, they're going to start to wake up. It's the battle of the gods, both these teams. Well, heavy expectations from the fans, that's for sure. But which one's going to be able to deliver? So far, Godsreen hasn't disappointed.
It's also kind of annoying that all these technical timeouts kind of ruin your momentum, right? There was a point where God's Reign was just reigning supreme, uncontested. They were on a killing spree. And then Godlike get a glimmer of hope. Let's see what they can cook up in this tactical timeout now. I mean, it does make sense for them to take this time out right away because this round came down to the wire. You know, they had the predictions right. GodLike was able to see God's Reign push towards the B side coming from a mile away, yet not all the rotations were in place, and it boiled down to heroics from Caramel to secure this round. Otherwise, this was supposed to be a round which went in the favor of God's Reign.
And personally, I feel like when it comes to GodLike trying to activate themselves, I feel like Hika needs to start stepping up for his team as well. Because, again, he's only got 1 kill on the board so far. He hasn't had a lot of impact. And we are 7 rounds deep inside this entire matchup. So Hika definitely needs to start stepping things up. He might be good on the utility usage, but sometimes you gotta also be good on getting those frags. You gotta have the frag potential into you! And Zay, not too good for this man. The gravity belt was utilized, but eventually Zay is just trying to dodge his way out of that tricky spot, and he exactly does so. And there's also heals waiting for him.
Heals waiting for him. I'm actually surprised he managed to get away because that gravity well slowed down his movement speed so much. And if he stayed there for like a couple more seconds, the fragment should have been enough to kill him.
Ooh, that shot!
Wow.
Oh, just deletes him out of the game. Zay gotten rid of inside this round. That means even the operator that was proven out to be a huge threat, they won't need to worry about it anymore. The Cosmic Divide's gonna be invested too.
The lockdown won't really help though. God's Reign can get the spike plant and get the hell out of dodge in this narrow gap. And still, Hoax manages to thread the needle. The Cosmic Divide staring Rexy in the face. The moment it drops, it will depend on who's got the faster reflexes. And this time, Hoax comes out on top. Astro and Caramel once again have to be the heroes. But this time, Hoax declares himself as the big bad villain. Can the smoke help Astro stick it?
Does seem like it.
No.
Did you see the flash? He dodged. It was so quick. It popped in milliseconds, but he still managed to dodge it.
Yeah, dude.
This man's reflexes are nuts. Just looks away instantly, looks back on the same direction, shuts down that man, pushes him forward, goes for the other man too. Hoax, that's some godlike stuff.
Yeah, dude. And the fact that the rest of his people in the watch party are doing the John Cena "you can see me" maneuver, that is so fitting for a flash dodge like this.
Wait, were they playing Truth or Dare?
No, they were waving their hand across their face. You know, it's the kind of the John Cena maneuver, dude.
You saw those little teddy bears on the map.
Oh, the
and there was a
bears.
bottle,
No,
empty bottle.
I did not pay attention to the teddy bears.
Yeah.
He's about to be turned into a stuffed toy with the amount of utility that's being thrown at him. Well, if a stuffed toy has been shredded like Swiss cheese, that's him.
And the flank from the side of GodLike's at least going to be able to find one. They also retrieve a Phantom in the hand. Double Door's presence should be known. GodLike, they're really looking forward to take this Double Door's control, but it's going to be denied. Hoax once again stands in the way. And it's going to try to block any sort of sightlines the enemy team's going to have. Rexy, the position's known, information's conveyed as well that Rexy's on to B main. And he's trying to find some connections, and he isn't able to. That's a huge problem. But here comes an even bigger problem. Tix is in the back lines, flanking Rexy. So that means Rexy will be shut down here in the meantime of the time.
Yeah, no chance. No chance to even escape or even save his weapon. A stylish round for God's Reign. More stylish than Philip's One Blade can make you. And look at them, just brushing the chip on their shoulder. Flexing the 6-3 gap again. This is like deja vu all over again. We saw this exact same scoreline in Haven too.
Interesting. You want to order something from the cafe?
Yeah, I could really use some coffee right now.
Oh.
Flashes and wants exchanged.
Utilities just dropped inside that art area. Autumn. That was a quick shot onto Zay. Operator shut down. Those type of shots are just way too nasty, and if you're going to get rid of the operator early off inside the round, that's going to give you such a huge edge, considering you're also nullifying the amount of investment the opponent made. Mid control's going to be up for grabs. Zay and Autumn are taking down. Both the duelists are not going to be present inside the game anymore. Astro, on the other hand, is still on the A side. He's waiting if there is anyone showing up, but that's not going to be the case because every single player from GodLike is on the B. And Ember's still looking out for the flank. Rexy must have heard this drop coming in, but no, it's going to be the answer. Rexy's just way too paranoid about his backlines.
Spike planted.
Yeah, dude. It would have been so fitting if Rexy managed to sneak through. I mean, the alarm bot was basically deactivated because Vibhor was out of range, but yet the angle is being marked. Hoax once again in this situation. This is like a power position for this guy. He's always so good whenever he's in these back halls. The retake becomes nearly impossible if Hoax manages to dig himself deep into this position.
Here. Bot coming back.
GodLike's lineup is like a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
You've got players like Vibhor, who are stepping up to the occasion. Of course, Tix and Autumn are always there at the top. And now it seems like even Hoax is not holding himself back. He's just unleashing himself against the enemies. And GodLike, they're pretty much fighting against the true gods over here.
Exactly, right? Now you know which one of them reigns supreme. When GR are firing on all cylinders like this, it becomes so difficult to deal with their momentum. I mean, I cannot believe the luck of Rexy over here. He finds a deactivated alarm bot, an opportunity for him to sneak by, but still somebody's marking this angle. But at least GodLike tried to take mid control this time. They fought aggressively and at least it made GodLike a little bit uncomfortable. That's better than just laying back there and taking it.
Concealment. Face your fear.
Oh, there we go. The knife bolt's going to be invested. The players forced out of the site too. Everyone's going to just back out. The site control's taken by the players of GodLike, but unfortunately the man who was in the backside, which was Caramel, is going to be taken care of. The trades are definitely happening back and forth, and Zay is going to take matters in his own hands. It's a 2-on-1 situation. Ember left all by himself, and he knows Zay is on the monstrous performance. But Ember, he connects those crucial bullets. The burst is connected. And Zay's has retrieved a Vandal in the hand. It's Vandal versus Vandal, but this time Zay's reflexes are going to be on point.
A heroic fight from GodLike. Zay stepping up when his team needs him the most. God's Reign, on the other hand, just went in for the swings. They don't care about planting that spike. They went in deep towards dugout, hoping to secure the secret region and make sure that nobody shoots them while they are planting. But instead, everybody from GodLike just pounces out, disrespecting the smoke of God's Reign. You've got players coming out of flowers, you've got players coming out of art. GodLike is just converging upon God's Reign from every direction and not letting them plant at all. I mean, that being said, God's Reign didn't want to plant this time right off the bat. They probably wanted to get a little more land control before they dug it in.
Cosmic Divide's available for Astro. Does he want to use it inside this round, though? That's a huge question. Did spot at the first man. The op was there, but the opening wasn't. And Astro will instantly try to play things safe. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last round for the first half. So this gets quite important for the players of GodLike to at least secure this round in their hands to make it a 7-5 half and have a little bit more light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah,
and
but unfortunately, they won't be finding any light over here because the Trailblazer gets destroyed on mid. At the same time, you've got Vibhor selling a fake on B and the spike heading towards A. As far as GodLike is concerned, God's Reign are all over the map and they don't know exactly where the spike is unless they spot it themselves. It's up to Astro to somehow hold on to all this, and Rexy does make a heroic play through the smoke, but that's all that she wrote for him.
One enemy remaining.
The trades are starting to happen all across the board, but in the end, We're left with only Ember trying to hold things off all by himself.
Nice.
And Ember's just so disgusting. I remember this man is as good, or not better, than what I saw him. Of course, he used to be one of the best controllers out there back in the day when I casted him, but once again, he's proven out to be the same. And Caramel peeks out from an unexpected angle. Ember gets caught off guard.
GodLike really starting to show up in the last few rounds over here. And it was clearly evident that they were trying to change things up. I guess it was just a little bit too late. In the round before this one, they tried some mid-aggression. Didn't get as much results as they wanted, but this time at least they did not fall back. They did not fall into the fakes that God's Reign was trying to sell, you know? Because Hika's dog got destroyed on mid and God's Reign were present all over the map. It takes a lot to identify where the actual attack is coming from and then try to stop the plant in the same time frame.
Oh boy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's a lot for the first half, but don't worry, we'll be back with the second half after this short break.
Can't for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Can't for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Valorant Challenger South Asia, driven by Hyundai. And of course, you guys are watching the English desk over here, and we all know the first half is concluded, Crips. That means we're going to be moving on over towards the second half, and this second half matters a lot to GodLike, considering this pistol round is going to mean way too much for them.
Exactly, dude. God's Reign started off in a very stylish fashion. More stylish than Philips One Blade can make you, but then GodLike got into their fast driving seats and caught up with them at the speed of the Hyundai i20. Sorry for the shameless plugs over there, but let's just get started with the second half. You've got Trailblazer heading towards the mid connector, and at the same time GodLike going towards Art. So mid is being explored in both avenues.
Oh my God,
God's Reign need to decide where it really is, but Tix is towards a log, and he's gone unchecked. And even if they get the kill on to Tix, there's one more over there as a backup policy, but they don't need backup when Hoax is over here, man. Hoax is the backup. He's the man of the hour.
These two single-handedly shut down the entire push the players that GodLike built, and we talked about this, how important this round is for GodLike. And it seems like they're going to be missing out on this round. It's only 2 players alive against the entire army of God's Reign. And Hoax, he's just feeling himself inside this matchup. The amount of confidence he's showing with those peaks is also landing every single bullet that's coming out of his gun. So impressive. And look at the late flank from Vapor. Oh my God. God's Reign, how do they have such a perfect timing?
I know, right? Exactly. That's the same question I've been asking myself since they faced Velocity. How do they get this timing right? I mean, their enemies cleared out these positions. They cleared out A-Link. They saw nobody over there. And the moment they ignored A-Link and walk past it, that's when Vibor shows up. It's unreal how they're able to find these timings so well. There's no plausible explanation. I can't even call it luck. It's just intuition, I guess, on God's Reign. And at this point, there's a race between Vibor and Hoax to see which one of them is going to be the MVP, because both of them are on fire.
Destroyed.
Beak beat on fire. Look at Caramel. Oh, no, he whips! He whips every single shot! No! That hurts! That hurts to me, man. That hurts, really hurts.
That is so uncharacteristic of Caramel. He
Exactly!
has been the top performer of GodLike. He's hit every single shot so far. He's pulled up every single clutch possible. And of all moments, this is where his fingers slip. That is just unfortunate. But hey, you know what? At least this happened in an eco round. So regardless of whether he got those shots off or not, GodLike don't have that much of a chance of winning because of the inferior weaponry, so it's fine.
One enemy
But still, that could have been a free
Spike
frag
down A.
Yeah.
that they could have gotten. Because the opponent had a knife in the hand, and Hoax could have been taken down. And so far, Hoax has been having a monstrous performance. I talked about Hika needing to step things up, and he wasn't able to connect his bullets. But finally, seems like Hika, the beast is awoken. With a 2K to try and save the day for his team. He's only got 2 bullets in the hand. Will he peek out?
Oh.
He will, but he won't be gifted another lifeline.
Here.
He walks into the lion's den with that one. Dude, God's Reign Watch Party are coming up with so many different poses. They have something or the other for every single round. Hats off to them for creativity.
Damn. I really like that jersey too, right? It's got like that golden edges.
Oh yeah, that too.
Looks pretty clean.
It's kind of unfortunate how GodLike found themselves in this situation. You know, they started off Pistol with a good note, trying to clear both avenues of B, but then they got sandwiched so hard. And the same story rings true for round number 2 as well. Now that they finally have weapons, can GodLike walk out of this trap? Or will God's Reign manage to corner them
that
into
flash!
treacherous corners once more?
That was such a nice flash. Blinded every single one of those enemies. And instantly one man peeked out as well from the elbow, but wasn't able to gain a lot of information or a lot of value. But Tixis there holding the back, and Tixis just gonna mow him down with the Bulldog. It's gonna be more than enough, and Autumn's there to back it up. The firepower from God's Reign is inevitable.
Inevitable, undeniable, and their defense is impenetrable. You throw in all the adjectives you need, and it's still not gonna be enough to describe the majesty of this God's Reign team. They rightfully have a crown on their head in their logo. Not a single frown on their face when they're leading like
30
this.
seconds left.
Oh, and this is way too much time to him for him to even save, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good thing that Cannibal isn't being hunted right now. He
By the
has
way-
been the star performer of his team, and he needs these weapons. Otherwise,
10
GodLike will be
seconds left.
broke.
Pretty much. By the way, are you a big fan of caramel popcorns?
Oh yeah, of course. Who isn't?
Yeah, tastes pretty good.
I'm a big fan of Caramel, dude. I've known this guy since, what, 2018? He was always the underdog back in those days.
No charge.
But every time a team took a chance on him, every time they gave him an opportunity, he overperformed.
Spike down.
Much
B.
more than expected. He would step up above and beyond, and I'm just so glad that that's still the case. I'm so glad that he's still reliable.
Oh, man. Another tactical timeout from GodLike. And they really do need these timeouts. They're trying to figure something out here. But honestly, Crips, with the way games are going so far, I'm going to say it, man. It's like GodLike, unfortunately, they're a step behind. And God's Reign, they're just better in all the aspects. When it comes to the game strategy, when it comes to team synergy, when it comes to the mechanical inputs as well. It just so far it seems like God's Reign are way better. Again, at least as I said, for now, inside this matchup, inside this series, there's a chance GodLike might be able to come back once again. There's still a chance to try and conquer this map. But if that doesn't happen, then whatever I said, the statement I made, at least so far, that's what it seems like.
Yeah, let's hope this tactical timeout can help GodLike fix their problems. So far, the most glaring problems that we are seeing is that the utility don't really land on time. The smokes are being disrespected by God's Reign. So every time GodLike put up some smokes hoping that they will block vision, they never get that security. Add to that the firepower of Autumn, it just makes things so much harder. They try to chase Autumn as he's dashing away, but Tix backs him up. Once again, setting up the bait perfectly.
Spike down A.
And we're already starting off with a fiery round here. And GodLike.
Oh,
Hika! He's waking up! Oh, GodLike, the moment we feel like there's the light fading away, Hika is the one
Player
to
standing.
hold the torch in his hands and pretty much just start moving forward, take the charge in his hands. And he's also marching up. With the Sheriff, he was able to find a 3K. And GodLike, they're now having a huge advantage. A quick fall flash. And Vapor is completely blinded. What a thrifty from GodLike. Hika is being a huge lifeline. I just talked about Hika needing to step things up a while ago. And Hika is doing exactly that.
Man, I think he took that a bit too personally against you, Necro, didn't he? I mean, the fact that you're able to get a triple kill is impressive enough, but you do it in 3 bullets, man, that is just clip material, dude. I wish I could see that from his perspective. Moving fearlessly, striking down every single pixel. Hika is stepping up and giving his team a lifeline, and they needed this lifeline desperately. Not the best haunt, but I think it's fine, you know. Tix has bigger problems to deal with. Once Hika starts to wake up, this guy chooses violence as soon as he does that.
Yeah, look at the amount of credits Hika's got stacked up because of his recent performance.
Yeah.
He still has 3,450 in his pockets. Crazy stuff. So at least one thing that we know is that GodLike, they've got a lot of economy they can rely on. But Autumn with this operator, oh, he's looking way too scary. At least the recon drone is going to be thrown out to try and gain some information. And Autumn knows that there is a recon drone. So he's going to back off in the nick of time. And now the call's conveyed. Hika knows there's an operator waiting for them to greet. And that's why every single player from GodLike, it does seem like they're backing out a little bit. Caramel, he's also got the double doors control. No one's going to have info. And Godsreen, they have no clue that the double control is...
Actually, no.
Double doors control is given away. There is still an alarm bot.
Yeah, but that alarm bot isn't being crossed. That being said, though, Godsreen are stacking the A side correctly. You see, there was plenty of utility committed. There was the Astra presence, the drone was thrown by GodLike, all hoping to convince that the B side hit is real. But Godsreen have already 3 people stationed on the A side, and they're ready to stop this push. And there's only 20 seconds left. Tix and Hawks are just so annoying to deal with. The Nightfall pushes them back even further. And I don't think GodLike will have enough time to plant this spike. They're gonna have to make a move for it. Astra gets stunned in the process. And if that's not enough, there's more utility being thrown at you. Yet, he's able to get the kills. He needs to stick this plant though. And Tix is looking to disrupt all of this. They surround them.
GodLike, they're showing some semblance of life. But unfortunately, instantly, that life is being taken away by Godsreen. With some beautiful reads and some beautiful shots. Tix, always there in the front. Astro is trying to fight back. Even Zay and even Hika now recently has started to activate himself. But unfortunately, Godsreen, they're always there to try and take the upcoming round in the hand.
Yeah, dude. I mean, they saw this raid coming from a long distance away, dude.
Covering it.
Yes, the presence towards double door could have been very impactful if somehow the alarm bot was dealt with. But that is another recurring problem of GodLike. They're not using the space that they tried to take early on to break the Skilljoy util. And once that's dealt with, they can always fall back and re-hit another side at another time. But for now, this seems to be a full commitment. Vapor is ready, waiting, anticipating. Tix comes out to help, but Ember gets destroyed!
Oh my, what? What? That is just
Finally.
disgusting.
Astra puts his killing spree to an end, but the damage is done. He was like a monster devouring all the little pieces of meat in one fell swoop. And Astra has to finish it off. Hawks is just too strong. But my goodness, what was that spray?
He ate them all alive. Every single player just started walking in their crosshairs. Win or lose, God's always happy.
Dude, this guy is not a god anymore, man. If there is a king of god, if there is a god of gods, then Tix has been possessed by that deity in this particular round. GodLike, these guys are facing Grim Reapers, Satans, the Antichrist himself. And Godsreign are playing like a team possessed.
Ooh, that shot. Autumn this time's gonna start things off great. Godsreign, they're starting to feel in themselves.
Take flight.
Oh boy. All the semblance of hope that the players of GodLike had is taken away because of that 4K from Tix. He just ate him alive. As you said, devoured.
You are divided.
And now, GodLike is trying to make something out of nothing that's left over. Are they going to be able to? That's a huge question. Cosmic Divide's been utilized to try and deny the control, at least for now, but GodLike, they want to go for the plant, but they're not just sure.
BB5, shots missed. Autumn gives them a lifeline. B-side being hit right now. And ASTER is firing on all cylinders though, but they haven't covered heaven. The smokes have already expired, and Hika now has an impossible task on his shoulders. He won't even have a head on his shoulders as it gets taken off. God's Reign win this battle of the gods.
Oh boy. And well, we had a little counterpart type of stuff going on, right? You went with God's Reign, I went with GodLike. My pick, unfortunately, wasn't able to come through victorious, but I'm pretty sure GodLike is one of those forces that will always make a comeback. And we will always keep rooting for the teams we like. Every single fans that are currently watching of GodLike, it's understandable GodLike lost 2 matches so far inside VCSA. But don't hate on them. Keep on supporting your players. Keep on supporting your favorite players, of course, because if you're going to start to hate on them, things will get even more dire. So you want to support them because they're already going through a tough time.
Yes, GodLike indeed is going through a tough time, but God's Reign, they are carving out a path for themselves. After their initial loss against Velocity, which looked really close, which looked like they were on the verge of beating Velocity, they've finally secured a win for themselves now, and this time cementing their position further up on the leaderboard.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, that was quite an interesting series that we witnessed. Of course, one of the best series out there so far that we saw. But ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to push to a short break. We'll be right back.
Can't feel my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
The all-new i20 Born Magnetic.
Making dreams come true and memories happier.
On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up, way up, pray up. On track, now we gon' way up, way up. Now we gon' way up, now we going. On track, now we gon' way up, way up. Now we gon' way up, now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this is 7 seas. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. We're known for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up, way up, pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up, now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up, now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage and say sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up, same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 seas. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only family, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 seas. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only family, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 seas. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 C's. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 C's. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track,